Hey there, Wild West fans. Today I'm going to tell you exactly how High Plains Rambler came to exist, and it's not what you expect. I never planned on this. I was never a fan of the Old West. I'm certainly not a historian, and I didn't think I'd still be here doing this at this point. This started as an experiment. I was working on another project that we were putting on YouTube, and I wanted to start a channel that I could just try to learn how to game the algorithm. I could try to learn what works, what doesn't work, and take that and apply it to the other project I was working on. But a little while in, something crazy started to happen. I started falling in love with the Old West. I don't know what it is. It's like, the story of Billy the Kid. This great book, by the way, by James B. Mills. It really fascinated me. The tragedy, the heroism, the controversy, the mystery. Some people think he became Brushy Bill. Some people believe Pat Garrett killed him that night. I mean, there's just so much mythology and different directions you can go with it. It was fascinating. And then there's someone like Jesse James, where I look at him, I try to figure out, why do people love this guy so much? And everybody has their reasons, right? But he was the first guy when I was posting videos people responded to. They loved Jesse James. Nothing wrong with that, to each his own. But I was just trying to figure out why. And, it got to a point where it wasn't an experiment anymore. It was becoming a passion project. And when it became a passion project, I decided to slow down and really dive deep into my research and try to pick unique topics that people would enjoy that aren't covered as much. But something happened. YouTube penalized me for that. Because before, I was cranking out a video a day. And they were very surface level, top 5 gunslingers, top 5 women in the Old West, top 5 Native warriors. And when I stopped doing that, because I didn't want to be a gimmicky top 5 account, YouTube's like, what are you doing? This isn't who you are. They don't care how much research I put into something. They don't care how much, if the pictures are accurate or if they're not accurate. They just care that I'm cranking out content and I'm keeping people longer than 3 seconds. And as long as I'm doing that, they're happy. But I wasn't happy. So I started really working harder, and it got a little discouraging because I'm like, I put so much time into this. I think it's better than the crap I was doing when I first started, when I really didn't care. But the results weren't there. And then I almost quit. It got to a point where one night I was watching Deadwood, excellent show, by the way, and I was thinking about Seth Bullock. I thought, what a great idea, what a great piece of content I could do to cover somebody like Seth Bullock. So I go to YouTube and I'm like, let's see if anybody's done this. Of course, Wild West Extravaganza had already covered Seth Bullock. Josh does a great job over there, and it hit me. It's like, what am I doing? This guy's already done it all. He is the authority in the Wild West niche or genre, whatever you want to call it. Anything I'm doing is just going to be, a lesser version of what he already did. So I threw in the towel. I'm like, you know what? YouTube sucks. They're penalizing me for trying to do better work. And maybe it's not penalizing. Maybe my shorts generally weren't as engaging or interesting and stuff like that. And that's on me. But in any case, I was very discouraged. So I said, I don't need to do this. I have a job. I have a day job. I'm not making any money off this. In fact, I'm spending money trying to keep it up. And so I threw in the towel. I'm like, I'm done. And I still had that hole in my heart for the Wild West. So, I kept reading the books, and I went out. I was at a gun show one day, and I came across this replica of a Colt 45 from the 1800s, and I'm like, I gotta have this. I loved it. And then I'm like, one day I'm in a Western store, and I thought it'd be cool to have a hat made that kind of looks similar to Clint Eastwood's from Fistful of Dollars. And while this one's not exactly right, I went ahead and had it made so I could set it in my man cave and have something cool to look at. Maybe if I ever do cowboy action shooting or something like that, it'll be fun to wear. And so I stepped away from YouTube for a whole month, and I felt really empty, man, because I'm still reading. I'm still learning about the Wild West. I still have that passion that got ignited when I was doing this little side project. And finally, one day, I'm like, the channel's probably dead. I probably lost all my subscribers. YouTube's going to throttle me. They're not going to push me. But I'm like, I really want to put out a Billy the Kid short. So I'm just going to do it, which, by the way, doing anything Billy the Kid related is very tough because there's one picture of the guy. And for somebody that never wanted to put his face on screen, that's brutal. You know what I mean? So anyways, I put it out there. It hit the same numbers my other shorts hit before I left. So I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm going to keep doing this. And since then, I've been trying to figure out what is my lane going to be. I tried to stir up some controversy with the Jesse James short where I called Jesse a coward. Look, whether Jesse's a coward or not, I don't care. I've covered Jesse in a favorable light as well as an unfavorable light. So I'm just trying to get some energy for the channel. And then yesterday I posted a short that was, or it might have been a couple of days ago by the time you guys see this. It was a kind of a news type short about a possible national park being added. And so I'm just trying to figure out like what direction I'm going. And I think this is it. I think what I'm going to do is I will pick a topic, whether it's Billy, whether it's Jesse James, whether it's James Wesley Hardin or Wyatt Earp or the movie Tombstone or that new Billy the Kid series that's out right now. And I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to kind of talk about it because I don't have 20 hours to dedicate to editing. And I'm not making any money from this. I'm just having fun. I'm a guy that likes the Old West and wants to talk about it. So if you're interested in me doing more of these where we just kind of sit down and talk about a topic, hit like, leave me a comment, and maybe subscribe, and we'll do some more.